Baltimore Ravens are getting some key players back on defense. Charlie Kolar is going to be out a month with a broken arm. Ravens announced they're going black on purple jerseys this week versus the Eagles. And should Kyle Hamilton continue to wear the green dot? We discuss all that and more in today's episode of the Flock Rundown.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. We got a lot to talk about today, so let's just dive into it. We're getting some key guys back on defense, at least soon. But Roquan Smith and Michael Pierce have returned to practice. This opens up Michael Pierce's 21-day practice window because he's coming off of IR. Not sure if either of these guys are going to go this Sunday versus the Eagles, but then we have a bye week, so regardless, I would imagine both are definitely back after the bye week, and it's just great to see that they're back at practice already, especially Michael Pierce. If they're ready, I'd love to see them out there, but if they are trying to push it and they're not fully healthy, then I think it's probably smart just to sit them versus the Eagles, have the bye week, and then we can ensure a pretty healthy defense moving forward after this bye week. But if Roquan's feeling good and the hamstring's not bothering him or limiting him in any way, then it'd be awesome to see him out there against the Eagles. Same with Michael Pierce, if that's possible. I know this is his first week back of practice. Usually you don't come off IR and get right back to playing, but definitely a chance, especially getting back to practice on the first day of the practice week. So I think that both of these guys do have a chance versus the Eagles, but regardless, it's just nice to see them out there, man. This defense is playing a lot better than they have been all season, and then re-adding guys like Roquan Smith and Michael Pierce to the defense is only going to boost that. In some not so positive news, Charlie Kolar broke his arm, so he's going to be out at least 4 weeks, they're saying. He ended up finishing that game, which is crazy. I don't think he realized that it was broken, but he got hurt in the fourth quarter and played out the rest of that game, but he was in a sling right after the game, and then after getting tests, they said that he does have a fractured arm, and he's going to be out at least 4 weeks. Definitely a loss in run blocking and just tight end depth in general. Charlie Kolar's been playing really well for us. He's been really engaged in blocking and then also sometimes, letting loose downfield. He's not a terrible receiver. So losing some depth there and also losing a little bit of blocking production. So I think Mark Andrews is going to have to step up and Patrick Ricard might play a little bit more just to kind of fill that role that Charlie Kolar was playing. We ended up signing Scotty Washington to the practice squad to help fill this position. So definitely sucks seeing Charlie Kolar out, wishing him a speedy recovery. The good news is it's not season ending or anything like that. And we have a bye week coming up, so that kind of absorbs some of this time that he's going to miss. I don't think he's really going to miss too many key games, and we'll have him back down the stretch. So get well soon, Charlie. The Ravens announced that they're going black jerseys, purple pants versus the Eagles. I like this combo. The last time that we wore this combo, I believe, was against the Dolphins at the end of the season last year. I think it was week 17 when the Ravens offense just exploded, and that was also against a Vic Fangio defense who we're about to play again in Philly this week. So I know it's totally different personnel, different team, but just kind of running it back a little bit, at least from a theme wise, Ravens black jerseys, purple pants going against the same defensive coordinator. And the Ravens just went off in that Dolphins game, especially on offense, man. Lamar Jackson hitting Zay Flowers down the sideline. I definitely would love to see a lot of that again in this Eagles game because I feel like we're going to have to put up some points. The Eagles have one of the better offenses in the NFL. And this could end up being a shootout even with the Ravens defense playing better. The Eagles defense also playing really well, but these are two very high-powered offenses, so I would not be surprised if a lot of points are scored this Sunday. It's a big game. I know it's an NFC opponent, so, seeding-wise, it's not the biggest game in the world, but this is one of the hottest teams in the NFL, one of the best teams in the NFL, so always nice to put yourself in that position to play against another top team. We plan on trying to win the Super Bowl this year, and you got to run through every team that is in your way. So the Eagles are in the way this Sunday. In some other NFL news, Daniel Jones ends up signing with the Vikings. I haven't talked about this too much on this channel, a little bit on Twitter, but I didn't think it was like a huge deal regardless whether the Ravens signed him or not. But there were some rumors floating around that Daniel Jones wanted to play for Baltimore and that the Ravens were one of the main interested teams. The Vikings were also one of the leading interest teams. They ended up signing him today. I don't think this changes anything whether we would have signed him or not. If anything, it's kind of a cool experience for Daniel Jones to go to a contender and learn a little bit for the rest of this season, and then he's going to want a starting job or at least a starting chance next season. So it's not like if the Ravens signed Daniel Jones, he was about to be our backup for years or anything like that. I think that he would have just been the backup for the rest of this season. He doesn't really even know the offense, so I'm not sure how much he would have even contributed. And we're screwed if Lamar's out anyway. We know that, you know what I mean? There's nobody that can replace Lamar Jackson. So the Ravens signing Daniel Jones or not just really never moved the needle. But regardless, we got Josh Johnson as a backup quarterback. We're not probably signing a backup quarterback because Daniel Jones went to the Vikings. And I wanted to end today's episode talking about a unique decision that I think the Ravens have in front of them, and that is who is going to wear the green dot moving forward. I know Roquan Smith has traditionally worn it, but I was watching some film from Coach yesterday at Sip2 Tally Films. If you don't follow him, make sure you go follow his YouTube channel. He does great film breakdowns and just has good energy overall. And he was breaking down the use of the Ravens' dime personnel in that Chargers game and brought up a really interesting point that the Ravens defense has a lot more flexibility when Kyle Hamilton is the one communicating to the entire secondary. You can go in dime personnel and only have one linebacker and choose whether that linebacker is a better cover linebacker or not, and kind of take Roquan off the field in certain situations and add more corners. If you don't know what dime personnel is, it's 2 down linemen, 2 outside linebackers, 1 inside linebacker, and then usually 4 corners and 2 deep safeties. So you got a lot of guys on the field to cover, and there's obviously a lot of communication involved with that. So when Kyle Hamilton is the one with the green helmet back there, he is able to communicate quicker to the guys in the secondary, and we can take Roquan off the field in certain situations where we may want to put in a Chris Board, who did extremely well in pass coverage. So it's not that Roquan would be taken off the field all the time. I just think that this provides the Ravens defense with a bit more flexibility, because when Roquan is the one with the green dot, he really can't ever come off the field. And if you do run dime, then Roquan's that single linebacker in the middle of the field trying to communicate to the entire secondary, and we've seen miscommunication be a big issue throughout this season. I know it wasn't a huge issue last season, but it clearly is this season. And by Kyle Hamilton wearing the green dot, it just gives the Ravens a bit more flexibility. You know, you can't take Roquan off the field if he has the green dot. So I think there's a true decision to be made. I'm not mad whether they give it back to Roquan. I don't think that ruins the defense or anything. I just think it does give us a better chance to win if Kyle Hamilton is the one wearing the green dot. But that's it for today, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are about everything. I appreciate you guys tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is tomorrow. Make sure you guys spend some time with your loved ones and just enjoy the day, man. Enjoy some football, stress-free Thanksgiving. The Ravens aren't playing, so enjoy the day. I appreciate you guys as always, and I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. The Flock Rundown. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.